I keep giving you credit. You are the Arizona leader on the state and national stage that has been one of the realists defending Arizona against a savage media attack because this is the one of the battleground states for the presidency and the Senate.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, and so they would like to keep things closed down, obviously, and keep Arizona down and people in crisis because they're playing on fear. And I mean, you saw it in their convention. You see a different attitude in the Republican convention. But and I will just tell you, we had some good stuff come out from the CDC with regard to, say, masks. I mean, it's kind of confirming everything that we've been saying all along, that they're not going to help you out if you're next to somebody long term. Now, what they mean by long term is within 6 feet for more than 15 minutes, right? So if you're sitting on an airplane, which I do regularly, and they make you wear a mask, it's not going to do much.
Yeah,
if anything.
That just came out at the CDC in relation under their community-related exposures, their public health guidance for that, and it basically says that factors to consider is the idea is that wearing a mask in these situations really doesn't help do anything.
Right. and you know how we knew that? Because for 50 years they've been doing studies on masks. And I'm serious. I keep forgetting to bring this home. On my desk in D.C., I've got a stack of studies and literature reviews that say that. We've known the thing on masks, just like we knew the thing on the vulnerable population, how you protect them. And we didn't do it. I mean, it wasn't, by the way, that wasn't a federal choice. Those were state leaders making those choices. And that's why you've got Chris Cuomo preparing for a surge that he said never came. But the surge was sitting right under his nose, and it was the senior citizens that he kept booting out of the hospitals and sending back to die in nursing homes. That's the surge that was there.
Well, he's getting a book deal, Andy, to talk about his heroic, amazing response to COVID. So,
well, yeah, and that's why people like Dr. Fauci are nut jobs. I mean, they're COVIDians. That's a great phrase, COVIDians, because Dr. Fauci said, "Well, yeah, let's see how Cuomo did it. It was one of the best in the country." Really? That's why Fauci. I told the president a long time ago, he's got to go. The guy is. He's more interested in being in the cover of a magazine than being a public health official.
Thank God. I got to thank God he put Scott Atlas there, at least as a balance to Fauci.
Yes.
So
Amen.
Let's talk about the reopening of Arizona. Now, it looks like the numbers are going to make Doug's health czars happy that Pima County and Maricopa can possibly do something and open up, gyms and some of these other businesses. But what has been so amazing, Andy, is not just the picking winners or losers here, but doing it with absolutely no scientific data to make any of these decisions. It's been really weird to watch.
Right, and it's been inconsistent as well, and it's been kind of authoritarian as well. I mean, so when you think about this, we're going to tell you if you're running a bar and you have I don't know. I don't go to bars, but they're giving wings out or something in a bar. You can't be open, but if you're selling food and serve alcohol, that you can be open then. Or if you have a bar inside a hotel, for Pete's sakes, you can be open. So they took certain. I think we've got like 19 classes of liquor licenses, and they took 2 of them and they said, "We're going to shut you guys down. We're going to let the others." 17 stay open, and you know what? We don't have an ounce of data to support that.
Right.
And the same thing with gyms. There's nothing. I mean, they admitted in testimony, yeah, we have never traced a case of coronavirus to a gym. We've never been able to trace the origin or spread of coronavirus to a gym. They testified to that, and still they closed them down. And it's just been. Terrible. It's been a hardship on owners, entrepreneurs, hardship on employees, who get on that, depend on their jobs. And then at the same time, if you're an employee and you're renting a house or an apartment or something, guess what? Then they say, well, okay, now you don't have to pay rent.
Right.
Well, what if you own the place and you've got to pay a mortgage? Well, there's no mortgage relief, and so it just cascades out. And if you're the banker that holds the note on the mortgage, or you hold the mortgage, you got losses coming your way.
Well,
so that's why
you're going to have to eat it, because Doug doesn't want to be seen as the mean governor throwing people out of their apartments because of COVID. That's the part that's sad about this. Those landlords can go kiss everyone's butt on that.
Yeah, so they're the ones. So what happens is you tighten up the rental housing market, because at some point these guys they get foreclosed on themselves because they're asking these people to go like 8 months, 9 months without getting any rent.
And those honorable people at the banks get to take back some buildings. So wow, amazing. Doug, so you've been pretty harsh on what's been going on from the state of Arizona. You never mention him by name. When you see Doug at like a Trump event, does he give you the stink eye or anything like that? I mean, you've been pretty hard, and rightfully so, on how the state of Arizona has treated some of this.
No, I mean, we were both at the Yuma event. We were both backstage, and we just had a real cordial conversation. I mean, look, my attacks are on policy. They're not on personality.
Sure.
And not on the person. And I think the policy's been terrible, but it doesn't mean I think Doug Ducey's a bad guy.
Sure.
I just think that what we've seen happen in Arizona is unnecessary and unfortunate. I mean, 3 weeks ago now, Arizona was ranked the 9th most strictly shut down state in the country. And there's just no excuse for that. If you want to tell me that we're going to take on the ports of entry in Santa Cruz County and Yuma County because we know that we're seeing massive cases increase there, and it's because of people coming across, I'm with you on that. Let's find a way to stop people from coming in here who have this disease. And now they're starting to in California. They've really stepped up how they're approaching people coming into the country on a non-essential business. But the reality is we have harmed our economy tremendously. And the number that I heard Monday night in a report I got was that 38% of small businesses are not going to reopen. 38%. Ugh. Can you imagine? The backbone of our economy are these mom and pop shops. They open up. They might have 2. They might have 20 employees, and most small businesses, just have very few dollars in reserve for this type of emergency. And guess what? It's been all played out. The federal assistance has been played out. And now you're going to see that kind of numbers of businesses that shut the doors and never come back.
Well, I'm sure Bezos has a $15 hour job that they can all work at, running around with robots and forklifts, I'm sure.
Yeah. Unbelievable stuff.
That's where we're heading to. Let's talk about the reopening of schools right now, because that's been the other part of this, because it's going to lead to the fact that as the numbers keep tumbling, we're going to have to move on to a life that looks more normal. And how does that happen? Because the politicians, especially through November 3rd, are going to hold on tight. So how do you think this is going to look, or how should it play out, Andy?
Well, it should play out that we open up schools. I mean, we've got parents and teachers in my district that overwhelmingly say they want to open up schools, but you have school districts or school boards that have voted to keep them shut. And so that's not been good. But the other thing, too, is I'm watching how they're opening up some of these schools as opposed to European nations that are well ahead of us in opening up schools. And what they're doing here is almost abusive in how they're keeping kids, even if you go to school, isolated and preventing them from having any normalcy at all. And this is a population, these children, that the chance of getting COVID is low, number one. Number two, When they do get COVID, it's like a light flu. I'm not talking Andy Biggs' opinion. I'm talking sheets of studies and reports and observational reports that are out there. And then the third thing that happens is the incidence of fatality among school-aged children is lower than, by multiples, exponentially lower than, say, number of drowning victims in a year. So it's safe for children, and you can mitigate the risk for the teachers and administrators, and they're not choosing to do that. Instead, they're trying to these poor kids. I'm watching some of these places that have opened up. There's no normalcy there. They want to be there. These kids want to be in school in person because they've got friends there. They want to socialize. They need to learn in person, but some of it has not been very good. I can tell you that. And so my solution is stick the money on the back of the child, and let that parent choose the educational venue that they believe is the most advantageous for their child. And I can tell you what, whether the child's an inner city kid coming from an economically disadvantaged area to the foothills of Tucson, they're going to choose what they think is the best opportunity for their kid. And that has been borne out in studies for decades. They want their children, everybody wants their children to get the best education possible because they know that's the best way for them to succeed economically and thrive socially in their lives.
Andy, at the beginning of this year, TUSD, our largest district, who is special for so many different reasons, they couldn't find they couldn't find 10% of their kids. They don't even know where they're at. They're not responding. They're not logging into their Zoom. The sixth grader hasn't logged into their Zoom to learn how to color between the lines. So it's just, and as you know, I'm a charter school guy, so keep sending them to us. We'll take them.
Yeah, that's interesting. 10%. Actually, Chris, that may not be as bad as you think, because in LA Unified, it was something like 40%.
Oh my Lord.
30-40%. It was. And I think it was 25% had never logged in, had never even logged into their remote learning. So
I hope no one from TUSD is listening right now, because now they're going to start patting themselves on the back. Hey, Biggs says we're better than LA County.
Just remember that bar is really low with LA County. That's a teachers union that said we don't want to go back to teaching unless there's Medicaid for all. And we defund the police. That's their teachers' union. That's the official position of the LA union.
A COVID realist that Andy and I both retweet and follow is Alex Berenson.
Yes.
And Alex has a piece in the New York Post called "We Could Beat COVID-19 Before a Vaccine's Ever Ready," which I will put up. You guys should read it. But when he talks about the mortality rate for children, the fatality rate, Dr. Redfield, which the press only considers when he's telling everyone's going to die, says that one in 1 million people infected is the child fatality rate for COVID-19.
Yeah, I saw that, and actually it's probably less than that. But he was just saying this is what the bare minimum data is. But I'm telling you, when we mitigate risk in our everything in our lives, because we mitigate risk whether you're getting in a car, should I turn left? There's a lot of traffic that way. Should I turn right? Everything we mitigate risk, we assess and analyze. 1 in a million. That would be the upper interpretation of the data.
Correct.
And I'm just telling you, that's why kids can go back to school. Kids can go back to school.
My other favorite, my other favorite moment. I know we got so much time together. Is the Maricopa County Health Director last week? Did you see her? I did. When she said that we're counting COVID. She was really worried that they weren't counting enough COVID deaths, right? So she really wanted to tell you. I don't know if she was drinking beforehand. God bless her. But she said, anyone who dies who has COVID within 60 days of dying of anything else, COVID.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a statement.
I got hit by a car, but 59 days ago I had a positive test on COVID, so that's a COVID death. That is true. That is why Dr. Birx, the only thing I've ever agreed with Dr. Birx on she said 3 or 4 months ago, she said, we are overcounting the case fatalities by at least 25%.
Oh my Lord.
And that's because of what she said to do. She said anything where you even, if there's symptoms or you suspect that there's COVID, then you should count that as a COVID death. And that was a 28-day deal, within 28 days, which is also absurd. But now the 60-day count is absolutely asinine, and it shows how bad the data is in Arizona. My favorite, Chris, was the day that I looked at the deaths reported, and it said at -1.
Yeah, I saw that for Cochise County or something.
Yeah.
Oh no, this was statewide.
Oh, statewide.
It was statewide, and I said to myself, "Hallelujah, resurrection has come."
Wow.
So because somebody's come back. That is how bad the data has been through reporting. So they'll go back and they'll do a certificate analysis, death certificate analysis, and if it says COVID on it, even if that's merely a secondary or tertiary or related cause, they're going to count it, even if the real cause of death is maybe it's Alzheimer's disease or something like that. The COVID didn't cause the death, but the person had COVID. So they're going to count that. And that's been part and parcel to the fear and the panic that has been promulgated by public health officials who are bureaucrats. They are bureaucrats, and they have to own that. And one of these days they're going to own it. There's so much we could talk about.
I know, Andy. I know you got to get going, but thanks for the call.